Okay. Uh, so today was a very interesting day. London session swept Asian session, so immediately kind of, I guess, more bullish, but still could go either way. Definitely leaning bullish after we tapped in this gap a little bit. Tapping this gap, or market has still been bullish. We are kind of due for a retrace, but you never know when that's gonna happen. So definitely leaning bullish, but not really um, super bullish or super bearish. So I zoomed up a little bit too far, but first 10 minutes, I don't know what that was. Market MQ comes up, sweeps up these highs, touching those gaps, swept that 5 minute high. Um, we broke to the upside and broke down to the downside. MQ is a lot more bearish. I don't have it marked out, but there's that hourly draw, which was that right here. It's a, cannot lag. Please don't lag. Um, Also tapping to this 4 hour gap. Um, so this hourly gap. Although on the hourly, we're also tapping into this hourly gap, so it's kind of like which one are we gonna respect more? We shoot that out. We get this once we get this other up candle. Wait. I guess I wait. What candle is this? Well, I definitely think there was a possibility for an SMT, and with it being that drastic and already at this low, I was like, this could very well be another bullish day with it keeping up that hourly equity. This is still so bullish. Um, Although we're respecting that gap, I think the biggest thing was that this had yet to be. This wasn't a well up down. I say 45. Oh, on the 15 minute. That was why it's so much different. I'm retarded. All right, yeah. So we did have a 5 minute bullish SMT, and at that point, I was like, mm, definitely can't. Like, I just can't take a short, bro. Like, I'm already leaning bullish. Had the 5 minute gap, 5 minute bullish SMT, 15 minute, no real gap on MES. On MEQ, no gap. I was like, well, it just like if I took a short, like, bro, that's just dumb. Like, I just can't do that. Ended up dumping. Maybe if we retrace into bearish confidence, I'd be willing to, but there's no way. Uh, there's no way. It dumped, came up here, then I'm like, all right, I'm still low-key looking for longs. I mean, he was definitely more bullish. Um, but once you zoom out, there's no SMT now. MES ended up catching up, and we ended up respecting this 5 minute gap. So I'm like, well, we entered equilibrium. Obviously, I don't have to mark that out. This guy got filled, reacted bearish. Then we invalidated that gap while in the 15 minute, tapping this gap and then getting a closure, bearish closure. I was like, I was like, I don't really want to take a trade at this point. It's what, 10, 15. We already made a huge move, but what is that? Four conferences just like that. So off that, I was like, all right, well, let's sell. Boom. Actually, it did not enter on MES. Let's see if it, let's do this one. My top loss was up here. This is a little lower. It was more like down here as final TP, but this is kind of first TP. Although it was a little less than 1-to-1. And was not just totally missed it. Totally lost today. I think the biggest thing was definitely had all the confidences to enter, and at least in the shorter time frame. But totally disrespected this gap later on, but that was like 11. But I think the biggest thing is that once we came down here, we swept pretty significant. Came to equilibrium while having the gap, while sweeping these lows. I think then the only problem with my trade was realistically we're taking a trade into a huge gap, which unless it's a news gap or the opening gap, I think it's a lot harder to predict. I think both those like news gap and new opening gap, I find that it usually just likes to push through and go all the way. So you can kind of have TP at the top or bottom depending on if it's bearish or bullish gap. But here it's like we really don't know when it's going to reverse. And maybe if there's lows stacked up like here, here, and here, and there's a gap further down, maybe. But realistically, the biggest problem was that there wasn't any higher time frame lows to actually go after. It was only just to push further into the gap, but we really tapped into this gap. So just be to see how far we're gonna go, which you don't know how far. Next closest gap or next closest draw or low was another 110 ticks on MES. And then MEQ, yeah, like that's just not super attainable when we've already made such a huge move to the downside. Like, yeah, it can happen, but we need like an hour SMT to form off maybe these highs and then go lower. So I think that's where I ended up going wrong because I think taking a trade into where we already came down is not risky, but if you are going to do that, you need more draws to the upside or downside if you're going to take this manipulation leg or take this leg up as a retrace instead of potential reversal point. So I think that's where I ended up going wrong today was I didn't see that the higher time frame we already took out all the draws and there was no more really attainable ones, so price would most likely want to reverse instead. But good day to learn. Emotionally, today definitely wasn't the best. I think I really wanted to win, and I didn't change anything that I did. I still was very disciplined, but I just didn't like how I felt about the trade, and when I lost, I felt too emotional about it. Um, but I was working on that, and then I eventually just went away after like an hour and a half of like me being in school. Where in some days it might last a lot longer, so it's definitely getting better. But just today, like that emotion I felt was like unprofitability type of emotion, which I hated. But it slowly went away, and I think that's due to me just becoming an overall better trader and more objective and less emotional. But I'll continue to improve and just was wrong today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.